Hi, everybody. You're back with the Circle of Hope pastors. We are hanging out again, trying to answer a question. We're always in dialogue, and we thought it'd be a good idea to start talking to each other in a public way. So the question we're trying to answer today, someone asked, does my mobile phone enslave me? We're going to spend about 9 minutes having this conversation. Joshua, why don't you get us started? What do you think? Are we enslaved by our devices?
Just love it. If somebody would ask, somebody who's asking that question, it's such a great reflection to do. I mean, the growing number of people who are, especially with smartphones, this revolution is changing the way we think and the way that we interact. I think enslavement is a term that's worth unpacking, but are we so dependent on them that we don't know how to relate anymore? I think that's kind of where it's all heading. I like the memes about The Walking Dead that are a couple like college kids walking down the streets, all of them looking at their screens. I think that's kind of becoming more and more true. For instance, someone in my cell gave up the Facebook app on their phone for Lent, and they said that was like very freeing to them. So that would make me think like, yeah, we have some problematic relationships with those screens.
Rod just took a phone call while you were talking. Is everything okay there, Rod?
Well, I was actually playing Bubbles, but no, I was thinking about this more in terms of the general. I mean, I don't want this to be too capitalistic when I say this, but I'm kind of anti-capitalistic when I'm talking about this because I think that the screen, as far as just a device, of course we can probably do whatever we need to do with a tool, but it's a device of selling you this constant, stuff as a way to kind of get into your inner being all the time through your eyes. It just makes me wonder, what are we doing here? Are we thinking about this? Because we are all now attached to this. Did we really want to be that enslaved to the constant competition for our attention, for the constant selling of a product with everything that we do, with just the invasiveness of it by nature? At least got to think about it before we just totally adopt it, which I think we have.
And my biggest fear is that we aren't thinking about it, or people in general aren't really thinking about it. I think I was telling you guys yesterday that I had met somebody and I had asked about, we were talking about television, and are we just kind of sucked into this world where we're always in front of a screen? And she was just surprised that I was even asking the question. There was no thinking about it. The answer was, well, of course we're doing that. That's the world we live in. Now we're
Joshua
all
just
in front of
posted an
these screens.
article.
Go ahead, Johnny.
Joshua just posted an article about a woman being diagnosed, but she was actually addicted to the internet because of the Google Glass she had on. So a lot of the research around this subject shows that people are more anxious because they're worried about someone replying to their text message within a certain time frame. They're compulsive, or impulsive. They just check their phone obsessively. One of my little cousins recently posted something, and they told me, I left my phone by itself for 10 minutes, and I came back and I didn't have any notifications. How stupid am I? So he felt bad about who he was because people weren't contacting him. And so there is definitely interior injury that can happen when we become so dependent on these devices, which end up being pretty helpful tools to have.
Well, and you're describing an addictive behavior, aren't you? If they came back to their phone and they felt bad because they weren't getting their little fix of attention, or and which isn't even attention, a faux attention, fake attention. Like I didn't have someone like my little post I just put up or something like that, is an addictive kind of behavior, and it is a kind of an enslavement. And I back to what I was saying before too. The device is used to manage our desire. So if it gets us ramped up to find out, go back to the phone to see if I got a little post from someone to make me feel better. I think we should pay attention to what's running us, figure enough capacity to relate to God rather than just relate to whatever the phone is sending me. It's kind of a little bit outrageous.
Mm.
It would be a good thing for some people, should they be that addicted, to throw the thing away before it kills you.
Yeah, even as you were talking there, Rod, my phone, which is over on my desk, beeped. Somebody texted me, and I have that impulse. Oh, I wonder who it is. So it's hard to even be present, and we've just been taught to not be present all the time. When Jesus is calling us to be present, there's that tension all the time. So I really feel for people because I had the experience just as we're talking.
Yeah, we were doing contemplative prayer in my cell an hour ago, and my phone, of course, went off. I was leading the prayer, my phone went off, and so everyone paused a minute to see, they were wondering who tweeted me.
Mm.
That happens like every five minutes or something or more.
They look at you with these judging, affectionate looks of like, "Are you gonna take this call in the middle of our prayer?"
Yes.
Like, whoa.
Have you ever turned your phone off? Please, would you mind?
Yeah. Well, that's, I remember life before mobile devices.
What?
Yeah, I know. I don't look that old. I thank you for that. But without being attached, if I was out of the house, you could find me by knowing where I was going, or meeting me somewhere. But that was like, we didn't check in 5 more times via text. Hey, you're still coming to this thing? And it was a little more complicated to be so human and limited, but I think the potential for our unlimitedness and our quasi connection to everything, and the connection to information is so tempting. Because when was the last time you were having a debate with somebody about like who was the star of such movie or who was the bass player for this band, and you actually left a conversation unresolved because no one was certain? Right now, almost every conversation I have like that, somebody whips out their phone and looks it up, and it's so nice to be able to like not know, go and find it later, and just keep relating in the moment.
Or even just not know, not think you have to be powerful enough to know some little factoid and like that actually is something.
No, the third drummer of Pearl Jam and which album he played on is I Need to Know.
Well, that's true, but other things are less interesting and necessary. I bet you your mother probably whistled at you to get you home and didn't even use the cell phone.
Oh yeah, she yelled my name.
My mother could scream and we could all hear her, and the neighbor would tell us, "Yeah, your mother just screamed."
Dude, but I tell you, my kid that's on the 3rd floor, I will sometimes FaceTime her to let her know dinner's ready because I don't want to climb upstairs or just yell, and maybe she'll hear me or not. So I mean, I definitely, as I'm processing these things, I don't mean to sound like just super, hey, anybody who does this is ridiculous, but I think that we have to, with a discerning, prayerful look, we need to really work through these things, and this is a good problem to have, and just pray through and talk through together, because we all are so faced with this kind of technology all the time.
Yeah, we're working it out in real time, and I think people all around us, though, who aren't really thinking about it, aren't really working it out, aren't really praying through it, might feel the enslavement even more, certainly more than we're experiencing, and that's a real dilemma. I want to help people work through that all the time. Johnny, give us a last thought.
Well, some of the costs of this you guys are already addressing. We don't learn how to be patient because everything's instant. We don't learn how to live in mystery because we know things automatically. We forget how to be in solitude because we're always connected, and we can never be in community because we're always isolated on our device. So if you max it out to an addiction, this can really interfere with how you relate to God and how you relate to the people made in God's image, your community. And so I think some consciousness and some discernment and some prayer even about this subject will be helpful for us to know how do we handle this effective tool without us becoming its tool.
Good word. Well, thanks for listening or watching on your screen. Like us, share this. We do want to connect in real time, so you could also email us or talk to one of us in person. That'd be great. Peace to you.